Hello everyone, welcome back to Shred Guitar in the 80s. Today I thought it'd be fun to cover a couple different things. I'm going to start out with some cool harmonic minor scale runs. These are definitely Yngwie influenced, and this is using E harmonic minor, but we're not using every position of the harmonic minor. We're just going to take certain patterns and kind of string them together to create a cool sound. And then we're going to look at some of the magazines of the 80s again, this time Circus Magazine. Back when Yngwie first hit the scene, I was just starved for anything Yngwie. I just couldn't get enough Yngwie. No Parole from Rock and Roll from Alcatraz was my first Yngwie album, and then I got Steeler, and then Live Sentence came out and I bought that, and then the immortal, legendary Rising Force album came out and Marching Out. After Marching Out, before Trilogy came out, I discovered this bootleg at a local record store of mine that sold bootleg albums. I got the Ozzy Randy Rhoads, I got a cool Van Halen one there, and I got this. This is recorded in 1985, I believe it was in Sweden, and I have seen it online before and listened to the concert, but this is just some amazing playing from Yngwie. It starts out with a really cool guitar solo, then it goes into a killer version of Little Savage, then it does a really nice version of Black Star, Far Beyond the Sun, Anguish and Fear, and Disciples of Hell. But it's a lot of fun. I actually talked about this a little bit when I first started this shred guitar in the 80s thing. I just mentioned it briefly. I'm going to use an M.A.R.S Stray Cat today to play my licks on because it's a lot of fun to shred on. This is like an 85 M.A.R.S Stray Cat. I actually got a white one that I talked about for Christmas in 1984. But the cool thing is the bootleg that we're talking about today actually has Yngwie playing that era of aria on the cover. So as a tribute to Yngwie, we're going to use it. We're going to start out with some cool E harmonic minor scale patterns. If we were to play it on the second string starting at the 4th position, it would go like this. And then you could do like, we're going to kind of mess around with the Yngwie lick because it's comfortable for me to play. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just skip certain positions of the E harmonic minor scale and just concentrate on the ones that sound nice, kind of following a diminished chord. So we get this. So here's that lick. We do it at the 4th position of the scale, the 7th position of the scale, the 10th position of the scale. That's all on the 2nd string, and then we're going to jump to the 1st string and do it the 11th fret, 4th fret, 17th fret. So if you look at it, what we're doing there is we're outlining a diminished chord. And it creates a really nice sound. That slow would be this. I really like the sound of that, outlining the diminished chord. We can also just do a descending version of that. one thing you want to do is you really want to make sure you're in sync and you're in time. You really want to get that swinging, flowing triplet thing going. That's what really makes these licks work. For the next lick, we're going to skip the one in the middle and just do this. I really like that a lot. It's fun to play that, and you're just kind of moving your arm while you're doing the lick. That's kind of the key to that. So in the 80s, there were like 2 big magazines in America, as far as I was concerned, for the players that I wanted to hear. They weren't guitar magazines, but just music magazines, and that was Hit Parader and Circus. And the two were very different. Circus started out, I believe, in the 70s. Hit Parader had been around a long time. Circus was really cool. It was more mainstream, but they had really cool photos. I have an issue here from January 31st, 1985. I no longer have the cover. The covers never stayed on these magazines very long. Check out this photo of Warren DeMartini and Joe Perry. Warren was always the coolest. I just love Warren's playing. If you follow me on this channel, you know I've covered Warren a lot. And I just love the Charvels he played back then. The one pickup thing, that's what I'm all about. Joe Perry's actually playing Warren's Skull and Crossbones guitar in this one, which is really cool. I'd be in study hall in school just staring at the guitars, wishing I could have that model or whatever. But yeah, Warren's guitars were the coolest. Just thumbing through the magazine, you can see Quiet Riot was still popular. They must have put out their second album, Condition Critical, around this time. So Carlos is playing his Gibson Flying V. Some cool photos of Carlos. The centerfold was actually Gene with a wig. I think he was pursuing his acting career around 1985, so he couldn't grow his hair out. He had that really crazy looking wig. But I loved Kiss. Kiss was like the gateway band for me. I was the biggest Kiss kid you could ever imagine. I had scrapbooks, and I loved Kiss. Gene was always my favorite member. Here's a cool photo of Brian Johnson and Angus. So, yeah, so Circus Magazine was just the magazine that they never covered the Yngwie Malmsteens or the underground metal stuff or anything like that. Hit Parader and Kerrang over in Britain was the best, really, for that. Kerrang was just an amazing magazine. And then you had, a little later, I think you had like Metal Mania. I used to buy that. That might have been a magazine out of San Francisco. I kind of forget, but Circus was great. I mean, I bought religiously Hit Parader and Circus constantly, but I have like tons of these in boxes. I thought it'd be kind of fun to break some out once in a while and look and see what was going on. It's really cool to kind of look back and see all these iconic bands in their heyday. Picking up one of these old magazines is just like a time capsule. In this issue, you had Iron Maiden as a cover story, and then you had AC/DC, Kiss, Quiet Riot, Twisted Sister, Rat, Sammy Hagar before Van Halen, and Crocus. So, yeah, what a cool mag. Today's album pick is a really cool one. I don't actually have it on CD, I just have it on cassette. But it's the Driver album with Tony Macalpine, Rudy Sarzo, and Tommy Aldridge and Bob Rock on vocals from Impelliteri's band. This album was just amazing when I first got it. I was totally into Macalpine, still am. It was so cool to hear him in a band context. I wish there was more recordings like this. Every solo on it is just perfect. And the rhythms, hearing Tony play rhythms is really cool. He's a great rhythm player. He comes up with some really innovative kind of 80s metal rhythms on this album. But every song is really strong, and the solos, like I said, are impeccable and amazing. I think, if my memory serves me right, that the actual original guitar player for this band might have been Kurt James, but then they ended up getting Tony. And this was released on Shrapnel Records. It looks like it had to be like 86, I'm thinking. I don't see a date on here. Yes, 1986. It's just like the classic Shrapnel era. But if you haven't heard this and you're a fan of neoclassical stuff or just Tony in general, I really recommend you getting it or streaming it or whatever. It's great. You got Nations on Fire, Writings on the Wall, Stand Up and Fight, Nostradamus. It's a really cool solo. Unknown, Survivor, Fantasy, Slave to My Touch, I Can See It in Your Eyes, and You and I. Just really cool. And this project didn't last long because Rudy and Tommy would go on to join Whitesnake. but we still have this document, and I do pull it out and listen to it from time to time, or I listen to it online. But definitely check it out, and I'll probably cover some more and maybe do some of the playing off this album in the future. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Sure had fun doing some of the Harmonic Minor stuff, and you know, I love mixing it up. Kind of lately, I've been kind of mixing between some of the LA stuff and the neoclassical stuff. But I'm going to cover a lot of other players and different styles as I go on with this. I'm really having a blast, and I want to thank you all for joining me and watching it, and liking and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, please do. I really enjoy hearing from you all, and I really enjoy doing this. So thanks a lot, and have fun picking.